Oh, yes. Let me clean this off. Um, I just wanted to say I just got here and it's 2:35. I was standing out front and somebody drove by in a Suburban. And it's kind of odd when you think of the various vehicles that you've had during your life and the effect that they've had on your person. A lot of people, when they think about owning a car, yes. A lot of their identity is because of the actual possessions that they own, and a car is a big one. Now, my first vehicle was a truck. Yeah. And then I was an exchange student at Denmark. And then getting back to the United States, I went through quite a few very, very inexpensive vehicles. I was what you call, well, I didn't have any money. You ever feel that when you don't have any money and you're 20, 21, 22? In fact, I don't think I got an actual nice vehicle, a $5,000 car, until I was in my 30s. Yes. Now, I could look at my CRD when I went to work at Washington Mutual as a financial consultant. But it took me a good 3, 4, 5 months to actually build up enough money to buy a nice car. And sometimes when you have to go through all these various difficulties in your 20s, yeah, you kind of realize that there are some important things and some things that are not important. Now, let's say you recently bought yourself a new vehicle, a truck maybe. Yes. I'd like to know the ownership of every vehicle of those that I'm going to sue because you just keep spending your money and I keep telling you about lawsuits. Now, in my 20s, yes. See, I really didn't start accumulating anything of value until, well, it was close after graduating from Northwest University when I first got that career job. Yeah, where I thought it was important to get a college degree. And it took me a long time. I got my associate's degree and my bachelor's of science degree. Yes. And during the same time, my deceased father did die. But I thought that there were certain things that you should do before you go off and help yourself to some money. Yeah. See, when I was living at my father's house in the motorhome, he had a friend that had a Studebaker for sale. And it had a really good motor, yes, but the rest of it was not so good. I bought it, thinking I'd fix it up. You ever do one of those? Approximately, what, 23, 22, 23 years old? Yeah, I thought I'd fix it up. Now, a lot of sheriffs, they probably have pretty nice vehicles. Do you have a nice car? Because I was kind of wanting to sue you for your actual vehicle ownership. And when you refuse to enforce my rights as a citizen, yes, and then victims' rights, right. And now I documented child abuse and victimization of myself as a child. Now, did somebody say that it wasn't fraud to falsify an application for a marriage license? Because when I looked at it is actually, yeah. Now, you decided you weren't going to enforce the law again today, didn't you? Yeah. See, I kind of thought you were going to do that last night when I made these videos. I thought for sure America's law enforcement's going to do something stupid. Pooch. Then I'd be sitting here explaining to you why it's absolutely the biggest. You've got to be the stupidest. Shut. I'm reporting underage marriage, fraud, ooch, felony, duress, ooch, and the falsification of court orders. Now, I've included this cut and paste that I put in here, but I think it's important when we think about forgery, yes, misprision of felony, misprision of treason, yes, And then impersonating an adult when you are not. Yes. Now, my own mother impersonated herself as being 18 at the time of her marriage, and I want to disown her. Does the police department understand disowning your parents? Now, she was 17 at the time of her marriage application, and my father was 16 at the time of the application. Now, we talked about the penalty of perjury for a period of time. Prosecutors, yes, we'll be dealing with two versions of U.S. Code 1001. Yeah, the one in existence before 1996 amendments and the post October 11th, 1996 version. Yes. This JM section and those that follow primarily discuss the old statute. The previous section discusses the 1996 statute. Yes. Now, 18 U.S. Code 1001. Whoever, in any matter within the jurisdiction of any department or agency of the United States, yes, knowingly and willfully falsifies, covers up, or conceals or covers up by any trick, scheme, or device a material fact, yes, or makes a false, fictitious, or fraudulent statement or representation, or makes or uses any false writing or document knowing the same to contain false, fictitious, and fraudulent statements or entry. Now, these white collar crimes that you're not wanting to enforce, yes, I would say, considering the ages, right, that it was a false, fictitious scheme to get a marriage license, yeah, when the actual applicant was 17 years old at the time of the application. Now, you decided to violate the laws again, didn't you? You sat there all morning complaining about how you're just not going to enforce. Now, it's a felony and another misprison of felony. Now, we had the misprison of felony, yes, of the forgery of the ex officio Superior Court clerk. Yeah, we did. We had the felony of the hate crimes and the false arrests. Now, I know it's only been a day, but do you remember this? Oh. And then you remember when the petitioner didn't sign the protection order? Yes. And then you remember all the forgeries of Heidi Lee Budnick. See, I'm documenting 5 different misprisons of felony. Pooch. But the truth is, yes, there's probably 20 to 30 of them once we start talking about it today. Now, this misprison of felony, yes, is the wanting, yes, the representing, pooch, that a marriage license is more important, yes, than telling the truth on an official court document. Now, Sheriff, I've asked you to allow me to speak to Marilyn Van Proyen. I asked you, yes, to allow me to speak to my sons, and I'm going to want custody of them. Now, the day before, yes, I talked to you about the 369. How it is an actual crime to falsify, yes, using any scheme or trick, yes, any criminal record or any court record. Let's go ahead. Now, I've documented numerous lawsuits where I was absolutely sure I was in the right. Now I'm at the library. Why don't you have Marilyn? Yes, drive over here, and have a little talk with me. Yes. And then why don't you give my sons my email address? Yeah, they could email me their information. Pooch! I could borrow a phone if you could. You know, your car seems to be more important than the actual laws of the United States. Could you get me the VIN numbers of all of those that I'm going to sue? Yes. I'm wanting a vehicle, pooch, and I thought you wanted me to have your vehicle.